I want to show you how you can get a perfect satin stitch on the Singer heavy duty sewing machines. Now a satin stitch is a zigzag, so we'll start by changing to the zigzag stitch. The length we're going to adjust towards the 0 amount. We're going to shorten up this zigzag so it's really compact and close together. The width is really what will be your choice. How wide you want that satin stitch to be. Maybe I'll just start around 3, but once I get the setting for the length correct, I'll show you how we can make that even bigger or narrower as we stitch. So let's go ahead and start to sew. So I have just a regular zigzag kind of coming down my fabric. So while I'm sewing, you can change the stitch length as you sew and it will shorten it up. Now what I'm looking for is that the stitches are going to get closer and closer together. Here's what I'm talking about. Right now I've got a fairly close together zigzag, but it's not all the way touching each other. As I shorten the stitch length just a little bit, and I'll have to kind of sew a little faster, otherwise it just kind of takes forever here. I'm just slowly turning the dial to 0 until my stitches become totally closed up, but the fabric still moves through the machine. I shouldn't have to actually help it or push it along the line here. And this is a great way to go around an applique, a piece of a piece of fabric you're applying to a base fabric. So see the difference? So here's where most people stop. They get it kind of close together and it's okay. But let's get it really pretty where we can see that everything is a nice solid stitching line. Now that I have the stitch length to my liking, what I can do is actually take while I'm sewing and once again make it wider. So I'm changing the width on the top of the machine. This machine stitches a 6mm wide stitch. That's really wide these days. But if I wanted to change it down to a narrower one, that's all the way down at 1. Doesn't look as smooth, but definitely kind of fun to see. So wherever that happy width is for your project and kind of in proportion to what you're actually going around. But notice how it's going, the fabric is moving all by itself. I'm not pushing it. So if it tends to pile up, that means you just have the stitch length too close together. So let's take a look at the changes when I made it wider and narrower. So you can really dial in to the perfect setting when you want to do a satin stitch.